18-year-old Sarah Graham hasn't been seen since February 4th, 2015. Her family said she left their home in Fairmount, North Carolina, early that morning to go to work. She never arrived.
I want you to imagine something for a second. You're 18 years old. You just moved to a brand new state to start your life over. Your dad works in law enforcement. Your stepmom works in law enforcement. Out of everyone who could possibly keep you safe, you are surrounded by it. And then one morning, you get in your van, drive off to your shift at Walmart, and you're never seen again. Her van was found abandoned in a wheat field. No blood, no struggle, no answers. For the next 11 years, that was the entire case. But in the summer of 2026, this case cracked open in a way almost nobody saw coming. And the people arrested weren't strangers. They were her own family, including the woman who, the day Sara vanished, was still wearing a badge for the very sheriff's office that was supposed to be looking for her. And when the arrests finally happened, the sheriff didn't just release a statement. He had to go public and defend his own department, because thousands of people online had already decided they knew exactly what happened, years before any of this evidence ever saw daylight. For 11 years, people believed this investigation had simply failed. The truth is stranger than that. Investigators say they were legally forbidden from doing the one thing everyone online expected them to do. The biggest twist in this case isn't who was arrested, it's why nobody could arrest them sooner. This is the case of Sara Nicole Graham. Welcome back, everyone. If you're new here, thank you for joining. This channel covers true crime cases using verified reporting, court records, and official statements. No speculation dressed up as fact. Consider subscribing if this interests you. Now, let's go back to where this actually started. Fairmont sits inside Robeson County, North Carolina. Rural, tight-knit. The kind of place where a missing persons case becomes something the whole community carries for years. In September of 2014, 18-year-old Sara Nicole Graham moved here from Texas, straight out of high school, to live with her father, Hubert Graham, a sergeant with the Robeson County Sheriff's Office, and her stepmother, Connie Graham, a deputy in that exact same department. She was a member of the Lumbee tribe. Friends remembered her as kind, artistic, and quietly thoughtful. Someone who loved animals, made handmade gifts for people she cared about, and was still finding her footing after just 5 months in a brand new state. She worked as a cashier and door greeter at the Walmart in Pembroke, 20 minutes from home. Co-workers called her dependable, the kind of employee you never worry about. Then came February 4th, 2015. At around 6:30 a.m., Sara leaves her home on Centerville Church Road, driving her father's white Chevrolet Astro van. She's due to clock in at Walmart by 7 o'clock. She never clocks in. 12:15 p.m. Someone finally calls in a van sitting in a wheat field off East McDonald Road. Locked. No blood. No struggle. But here's the detail that changes everything about that timeline. Witnesses later told investigators they'd actually seen that van parked there since 6:45 a.m., meaning it sat in that field for nearly 6 hours before a single person called it in. 6 hours. Nobody knew, nobody looked. Within days, 140 volunteers and a K-9 unit combed the ground between her house and the Walmart. Phone records pulled, computer examined, family interviewed, nothing. Sara Nicole Graham had disappeared without a single trace. And 6 weeks later, something happened that wouldn't make sense to the public for the next 11 years. March 18th, 2015. Connie Graham, Sara's stepmother, 23 years with the Robeson County Sheriff's Office, is fired. No public explanation. Officials cited only personnel issues. One local outlet at the time even reported she'd briefly been looked at as a person of interest. No arrest followed. The story just stopped there. Sara's father eventually left the department entirely, later becoming police chief at nearby Roland PD. Reporters who have approached him over the years say he's consistently declined to comment. A missing girl, a quietly fired stepmother, and then silence for years. March 2015. The FBI joins the case, releases a missing person poster. Sightings get reported from multiple states. None of them hold up. At first, even the FBI couldn't move this case forward, but a filing years later would change everything. We'll get there. June 2023. 8 years in. The sheriff's office and FBI search her father's home again, based on new leads. Items are confiscated, later returned. And that's when Sheriff Bernice Wilkins says something that, at the time, barely made news. While most of the people we have interviewed have been cooperative, we believe someone very close to her isn't telling us everything they know. At the time, almost nobody paid attention to that sentence. Years later, it would sound very different. February 2025, 10 years to the day, Wilkins holds another press conference. We believe that there are people in the community who have information on Sara's suspicious disappearance. The FBI reward doubles, from $5,000 to $10,000. Still, nothing breaks. 10 years of searching. 10 years with no answer. And the thing that finally moved this case forward wasn't a new suspect, a new tip, or new forensics. It was a piece of paper. You cannot charge someone with murder without a legally recognized victim. Under North Carolina law, a missing person isn't automatically treated as deceased. A judge has to rule on it. Someone has to petition the court, and law enforcement isn't allowed to file that petition. Only family can. February 2026. Months before anyone in the public knew a single thing was moving, Sara's biological mother, Catherine Armenta, quietly files that exact petition through her attorney. June 1st, 2026. A judge grants it. Sara Nicole Graham is legally declared dead. That single ruling flipped a switch. An 11-year-old missing persons case instantly became an active homicide prosecution, and investigators could finally move on warrants they may have been building toward for months. 3 weeks later, everything happened at once. June 25th, 2026. Neighbors describe a swarm of deputies surrounding a home in Fairmont. Connie Graham is taken into custody without incident. 3 arrests that morning. Connie Graham, the same woman fired from the sheriff's office 6 weeks after Sara vanished, 23 years into her career. Bobby Matthew McClellan, 42, and Luke Locklear, 29, Connie's own sons. Sara's stepbrothers. All 3 moved out of Robeson County entirely, held in a neighboring jail for what officials called safekeeping. I need to be precise here. Everything you're about to hear comes directly from the arrest warrants. These are allegations. Under the law, all 3 remain innocent until proven guilty. Connie Graham, first-degree murder, destroying criminal evidence, 2 counts of felony conspiracy. The warrants allege she killed Sara Graham, then destroyed or altered evidence. The bed, the clothing, the home flooring. Bobby McClellan, accessory after the fact, felony conspiracy, evidence tampering. The warrants allege he helped dispose of Sara's remains. Luke Locklear, felony conspiracy, evidence tampering. The warrants allege he helped burn evidence. Connie Graham denied bond at her first appearance. Denied again on July 2nd. A prosecutor put it bluntly, if she can do that for a family member, the state has great concern. McClellan and Locklear, $1 million. Bond each. A probable cause hearing is set for July 17th, 2026. But the arrests weren't the end of the noise. If anything, they were the start of it. Within hours of the announcement, Sheriff Wilkins posted directly to Facebook. He called online critics, keyboard cops and living room lawyers, and pushed back hard against what he called a wave of misinformation. His point was simple. The law required the death declaration before any homicide charge. No matter how convinced the public already felt, Procedures matter. The law matters. And in this case, those procedures were followed by my dedicated and well-trained homicide detectives exactly as required. He also revealed something new. Since taking office in 2018, he'd built a cold case investigative team of retired local, state, and federal investigators. 4 cold cases cleared. Sara's now among them. Then the family's own attorney added a detail that reframes this entire story. Carlton Mansfield, representing Sara's mother, was asked if she was surprised her own family was arrested. His answer, "I don't know if she had always thought that, but she's felt that for a number of years." The involvement of those people charged has been the subject of discussion in that community, and with Catherine and her family, for years now. Read that again. The people closest to Sara had suspicions about her own family for years, long before any arrest, long before the public ever knew. The moment those 3 names hit the news, this case exploded across TikTok and Facebook. Hashtag Justice for Sara. Hashtag Sarah Graham. Amateur investigators picked apart every timestamp, every detail, and plenty got it wrong, which is exactly what pushed the sheriff to respond publicly in the first place. There's one more layer worth naming directly. Sara was Lumbee, and a portion of the public reaction connected her case to the broader missing and murdered Indigenous women movement. A well-documented pattern of Indigenous women's cases moving slower and drawing less attention than others. Nobody official has said that pattern caused this specific delay, but it's clearly part of why so many people felt this case deserved louder attention far sooner than it got it. And here's the thing. That public outrage wasn't discovering something new. It was catching up to something Sara's own family had quietly believed for years. 3 people charged, and Sara Graham still hasn't been found. Sit with that for a second, because it's the part of this story that doesn't get resolved by an arrest. The FBI is still offering a $5,000 reward, not for a conviction, not for information on the case, specifically for her location. For 11 years, Sara's mother didn't get to bury her daughter. She didn't get a funeral. She didn't get a grave to visit. She had to instead go to court and legally ask a judge to declare her own child dead, just so the justice system could finally start moving. Investigators who've worked this case since 2015 still don't have the one piece of evidence that would let them close the loop completely. And the community that suspected this family for years still doesn't have the confirmation they have been waiting for. Sheriff Wilkins said it himself, days after the arrests. In cases such as this, the investigation doesn't stop because of an arrest. We feel there is much more to be told. 3 arrests happened. Answers didn't. Not the ones that matter most. We still don't know where Sara is. Sara came to North Carolina believing she was surrounded by the people meant to protect her. 11 years later, investigators allege those same people were the ones she needed protection from. Her stepmother was fired 6 weeks after she vanished, and it still took 11 years, a mother's legal petition, and a court order before anyone was charged. The most unsettling part isn't even the alleged crime itself. It's that the people closest to Sara suspected this for years and couldn't act because the law simply hadn't caught up yet. 11 years later, the case has arrests. It still doesn't have Sara. So that's where the case of Sara Graham stands. 3 people charged, all presumed innocent until proven otherwise. A stepmother denied bond twice. A probable cause hearing on July 17th, and a sheriff who says this is far from finished. What do you think really happened inside that house? Let me know in the comments. If you want to be here for the next update, subscribe now, because this one isn't over. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.